ang patay natin is, we compared to those who recovered, it's quite small, 1,309 ang patay. Now, let me stress that whether we open a modified lockdown or we totally open it in wild abandon, kagaya ng Amerika pati Brazil, ang mga presidente doon medyo matatapang. Baka may pera, ito si Bolisuro. Medyo may pagka-Trump. And devil may care attitude. Tayo hoong pobre, we cannot afford really a total epidemic or pandemonium. Mahirap tayo. Hindi tayo pwedeng sumugal. I cannot follow the example of other countries because as the experience have shown as of now, there were a lot of countries also opening up. And first was Japan, then Korea, followed by China and the United States. Now, what really happened in these countries was that although they opened their economy for money to come into the government coffers, ang nangyari is there was a spike. They would have a problem of almost a relapse. Parang relapse in the totality of the number. Iyon ang mahirap. Now, we do not even know if the number of 34,178 of active cases is still a part of the first wave, or have we arrived at the second wave? I don't think so. We are still grappling with the first wave. So, mga kababayan ko, ginusto ko man, ako mismo personal, gusto ko nang lumabas. Ayaw ko nang magpapigil. Kung gusto ko nga, magkipag-away na ako. Ang problema is, yun ang gusto ko. Pero ang gusto ko, hindi makapabuti sa ating lahat. And that is true for your choice and my choice. And so we have to be very circumspect in the opening of the economy. Dahan-dahan lang. And if ever there is going to be a spike again, baka marami ang infected or reinfected, at least yung calibrated numbers of people we allow to go out would be still within manageable numbers. Because if we open the entire Philippines and thousands upon thousands of new cases would happen, then we are in deep shit. Talagang mahirapan tayo. Una-una, wala tayong pera. Well, of course, sabi ng mga doktor ngayon, ventilators, yung paggamit niyan is the last option of a person sick with COVID. So there are still many things that can be done. Our doctors have, in the Philippines, have, innovated some sort of just meeting the crisis halfway. Some have resorted to melatonin, others have, pero yung quinine ay talagang, this was debunked by experts all over the world. It's not really for the use of COVID-19. Now, you want to know the places which have been declared modified or there's been a change. But this is a very dynamic thing. It can change every day depending on the numbers. And of course, upon the assessment of our health authorities. So I'll give the floor to Secretary Doggett to enumerate to you the places that have been modified total noon. Ngayon, makalabas kayo, and who are the sectors of society who would be allowed a little bit of a leeway, an elbow room to move. Hindi lahat ito. Sabi ko nga, I'm sorry but I cannot really, kumbaga, bitawan ko kayo. I will remove the leash. Leash yung tali. Takolaan na kayo kasi hindi ko kaya ang the resultant happening or the resultant end game there is too horrible to ponder. I cannot make a guess. Governance is not made of guesses. It has to be anchored on pure science. Kaya naman, malapit na. I'm confident that by our readings of other countries who have much improved their scientific study, I think that by December, meron na hong vaccine, or at least, if not a vaccine, a medicine that could kill the COVID-19. Ako, I would prepare that we use the medicine to kill, then get the vaccine later on. So, I give the floor to you, sir. Enumerate yung ano muna, yung in according to their severity, those that are totally locked na, and those already modified, para malaman ng buong Pilipinas. Kayo yung may hawak ng listahan. And it's, I said, a dynamic one. It changes every day.
Magandang gabi po, Mr. President, at aking po mga kasamahan sa IATF and Cabinet at kay Senator Bongo. At magandang gabi po sa atin pong mga kababayan. Ngayon pong gabi, ako po yung inatasan ng ating pong mahal na Pangulo na banggitin po ang mga sumusunod na mga lugar na sumasailalim sa ECQ, sa GCQ, at doon po sa tinatawag natin na MGCQ. Yung pong ECQ, ibig po sabihin ito, yung Enhanced Community Quarantine. Ito po yung pinakamahigpit na klase ng ating mga restrictions. Ito po yung ipinagbabawal ang paggalaw at ang pagbiyahe ng ating po mga mamamayan, lalong-lalo na po ang mga may edad at may mga kasama po mga tinatawag natin mga sakit katulad ng diabetes, hypertension, asthma, at mga iba pa po. Iisa lang po ang lugar na sumasailalim sa ECQ. Ito po ang Cebu City. Ang susunod naman po ang ating General Community Quarantine. Yes, sir.
Can you give us the reason why Cebu City has been placed in that kind of status?
Nilagay po natin ang Cebu City under ECQ dahil po sa malaking pagtaas po ng bagong kaso ng COVID-19 at ang kanila pong noong nagpasya ang IATF at inaprubahan po ninyo, Mr. President, ang case doubling time ng Cebu. Ibig po sabihin ng case doubling time ay napaka-maiksi po ang panahon, mabilis magdoble ang bilang ng mga kaso. It was below 7. Ayun po, that puts them at high risk. Isa po yun. Pangalawa pong dahilan ay yung tinatawag po natin critical care utilization rate, yung pong mga hospital nila, yung pong kanilang ward beds, yung kanila pong isolation beds, yung kanila pong ICU beds, at saka yung pong mechanical ventilators po nila, mataas po ang kanilang utilization. So ito po ay signal na talagang malawak po ang naapektuhan na mga komunidad with the COVID-19 cases. So, nagpasya po tayo na gawin pong ECQ para nang sa ganon mapigilan, magkaroon part of the containment strategy, Mr. President, para mabawasan ang reported new cases. At ngayon naman po, yun na po nangyayari, Mr. President. Meron po tayong report, but this is with Secretary Roy Cimatu. We will get the official report soon, Mr. President. So dalawa lang po yun. Ang kanila pong case doubling time ay masyadong maikse, less than 7 days. That puts them at high risk, and their critical care utilization rate, mataas po ang kanilang paggamit. Ibig sabihin na overwhelmed na po yung kanilang health systems capacity. So dalawa lang po kung bakit sila inilagay under ECQ, dahil nga po yung kaso nila tumalon, Mr. President, masyadong malaki po itinaas.
Sir, may I just comment, if you'd allow me? Earlier in the days during the inception of the COVID-19, I had an occasion to observe different places in the Philippines. Sad to say, it is the province where I come from, and that is why I warned the residents there that they should not take it against me. We had all the warnings in place, and the police were very strict, but following the national direction, but it could only arrest so much. Ang nahalata po, nonchalant sila during the critical days sa pagputok nito. People were partying, gambling outside of their houses in Talisay, that's in Cebu. Basta para sa kanila, baliwala. And sabi ko nga, kayong mga Cebuano, huwag kayong magalit sa akin. I'm a Cebuano and I have every reason to be concerned about the welfare of the province of my father. Ang sinasabi ko sa inyo, Nawarningan ko na kayo noon that yung Cebu guys are taking the warnings of the national government nonchalant. Maragway na hitabo sa binisaya pa. Di mapod mo. Maragway mo too. Unya, nakita na ko, from all indications, gikan sa footage, pakuhaan ako ang kamera sa gobyerno. Aba, wala yun. Maragwalay warning, wala tanan. Also, muna na ikaroon. Ang akong kuhan sa inyo, higay mag-ulo. Dili to sigurong, except those who are really infected because they had to go out, they had to work, or if perchance, talagang tinamaan. Ang ayaw ko doon, sir, sa Cebuano, yung mga tao nag-iinuman, nagsusugal, pati nagparty.
Panghuli lang na sasabihin ko po kung bakit ang Cebu City ay pumasok sa ECQ, nag-escalate to ECQ. Yung particular sa isolation beds po nila, 90.6% ang kanilang utilization. And that puts them at very high risk. At ang kanilang ICU beds, ganun din po, 84.6% ang utilization. High risk din po. Kaya yan po ang dalawang dahilan kung bakit ay ibinalik po natin sila sa ECQ. Ganun pa man, ang nag-inspect po ang IATF at ang National Task Force with our chief implementer, guiding and assisting the chief overseer of the Cebu City pandemic COVID-19 management, si Sec Roy po. At doon po ay sinabihan po namin ang liderato at ang mga iba pong mga ahensya na talagang paigtingin po nila yung containment strategies po nila, Mr. President. So yung containment strategies, ang nakapaloob po rito ay ang mga sumusunod. Unang-una, ang pinaigting na isolation, detection, isolation of cases, tapos ang contact tracing, testing, and treatment. So ito po ay mariin na sinusunod po ng leadership ng Cebu City. Kaya we will be reporting in the next meeting with you, Mr. President, showing a downward trend in the number of cases. Ngayon po, yung mga ibang mga lugar po, yung mga nakapaloob po sa GCQ or General Community Quarantine ay ang NCR, ang Benguet, ang Cavite, Rizal, Lapu-Lapu City, Mandaue City, Leyte, Ormoc, Southern Leyte, at tatlong lugar po sa Cebu Province, ang Talisay City, ang Minglanilla at Consolacion. Ang susunod naman po na level, lower level, less restrictive, community quarantine, ang tawag po rito, modified general community quarantine with strict local action at there has to be a localized community quarantine, zoning, strict enforcement of minimum health standards, scaling up of health system capacity, such as isolation facilities of overseas Filipinos, the locally stranded individuals, as well as close contacts. The provinces and the regions under MGCQ are the following. For CAR, Cordillera Administrative Region, we have Abra, Baguio City, Ifugao, Kalinga. For Region 1, Ilocos Norte, La Union, Pangasinan. Region 2, we have Cagayan and Isabela. Region 3, Bataan, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Angeles City. For Region 4A, meron po tayong Batangas, Laguna, Quezon, Lucena City. For Region 4B, ito po ang Palawan, Puerto Princesa City. Region 6 po, o Region 5 rather, Albay, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Naga City. Region 6, meron po tayong Capiz, Iloilo, Iloilo City, Negros Occidental, and Bacolod City. For Region 7, kasama po rito ang Cebu Province, ang Bohol, at Negros Oriental. Region 8, Tacloban City, Western Samar. Region 9, Zamboanga City, Zamboanga del Sur. Region 10, Bukidnon, Misamis Occidental, Misamis Oriental. Cagayan de Oro. Region 11, Davao del Norte, Davao del Sur, Davao City, Davao de Oro. Region 12 po, kasama ang Cotabato, ang South Cotabato. Region 13 or Caraga, Agusan del Norte, and Butuan City. Samantalang po ang Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao or BARM, kasama po ang Lanao del Sur and Maguindanao. Yung pong susunod na kategorya or classification, risk classification ng MGCQ na lower risk po, the rest of the Philippines. Lahat na po ng lugar sa labas po ng aking mga nabanggit, sa ECQ, sa GCQ, and the modified GCQ ay nakapaloob po sa tinatawag natin low risk, modified, general community quarantine. So, ilan po, Mr. President, ang akin pong naitala na mga lugar po batay po sa inyong kautusan. Maraming salamat po.
So, nandiyan ho yun. The Secretary of Health has given us the places where there are different kinds of quarantine that are being implemented. Again, just because you're allowing some of the sectors of our society to go out and work, it does not follow that COVID is not here. COVID will remain for all time. The only thing that would make it useless, actually, would be the vaccine. But the vaccine is a antibody produced by the body to fight. Ibang klase ito galing sa katawan natin. Yung isa naman, kung maaari yung pampatay talaga. But it does not guarantee reinfection or infection. So, I hope that we have satisfied the public of what to obey, what not to obey, when to do it, and when not to do it. Now, meron akong updates na binigay sa akin. Operations of MRT Line 3 will be temporarily suspended for approximately 5 days beginning July 7, 2020. It will only resume, at least in limited operations, once testing confirms that sufficient number of personnel are negative for COVID-3. So we are very careful na pati yung those manning, those equipments there will not jeopardize or put you in jeopardy while riding the trains. There will be a shortage at the beginning, but we will augment it with the number of increased buses using the line. Itong suspension of non-essential travel by Filipinos is now lifted all exit travel restrictions are also lifted. Conditions for outbound travel of Filipinos. Yung Pilipino na gustong lumabas sa bayan niya, ito lang ang tandaan ninyo. And you can call us again, and we would be happy to repeat it to you again. The conditions for outbound travel of Filipinos are as follows. The submission of confirmed round-trip tickets for those traveling on tourist visas. This is not only a mandate dito sa Pilipinas. Yung mga lugar na puntahan ninyo, interesado rin na pupunta kayo, tapos aalis kayo pag panahon na. Adequate travel and health insurance to cover rebooking and accommodation expenses if stranded, and hospitalization in case of infection. Medyo mabigat ito. Ewan ko how much would be added to your expenses, but itong insurance, mabigat ito. Na kung while in travel, makasakit ka. Well, the best is Blue Cross, I think. Blue Cross would answer for anything while you are out of the country. Anything at all. You get sick, and you can choose even, I think, the hospital that you'd be checking in. Ano ito? But this is a very expensive proposition. Tayo, hindi tayo maka-afford nito. Ano lang. The Blue Cross is almost like a membership. Ito naman, ano lang ito, pangkaraniwan lang sa travel. Allowed entry by the destination country in accordance with travel, health, and quarantine restrictions. Ito nga kaya hinihingi na dito ngayon. Execution of a declaration acknowledging the risk involved in traveling, including the risk of delay in the return trip. This is so because COVID is still rampaging. Is there anybody who'd like, Secretary Galvez, you'd want to say something?
Sir, Mr. President, our Phase 2 of the new National Action Plan has been approved by the IATF last Thursday. And in order to address the resurgence of COVID and also make an opening on the economy, we have already formulated the plan. And with your indulgence, sir, we can present it to you, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, Mr. President, it is my honor to present to you and the public the salient points of the second phase of the National Action Plan, which was approved by the IATF last Thursday. It has three imperatives. The first imperative is the people's compliance and vigilance to the minimum health standard or the principles of people support. One of the major imperatives of the NAP is the changing people mindset that the success of our campaign is basically anchored on the people's support and active participation and vigilance to strictly observe and promote the minimum health standards and disease prevention. As you have said, Mr. President, that we have to concentrate on prevention. Since prevention will not only save more lives, but also save our critical resources. Hindi na tayo, sir, kailangan magkaroon ng extensive na healthcare na pagka once na we have able to prevent it. During the phase 1 of our campaign, Mr. President, we have seen that the areas with unity of command and unity of effort, we were able to manage and contain the spread of the COVID-19. We have models like Davao City under Mayor Sara, the CAR, the Caraga, the NCR, Region 6, Region 8, and Region 1 and 2. Unity of effort and collective leadership are key to our success. Our local leaders should be with us together with the private sector. So yun po ang kailangan po natin, kailangan po magkaisa tayo po. Dahil kasi minsan pagka po hindi nagkakaroon ng pagkakaisa katulad ng nangyari po sa Cebu na nagkaroon po ng hidwaan sa politika, talaga pong minsan po hindi po sumusunod ang mga tao. And lastly, we need the capacity of the national government and the LGUs to address and manage cases in order to minimize the fatality rate and deaths. Sa ngayon po, sir, maganda po yung ating healthcare facility dahil po yung atin po, nung nagagawa po kami ng tinatawag nating averaging from June 1 to June 30, 11 lang po ang ating average death. Sa ngayon po, sa ating statistics, from July 1 to 6, 6 lang po ang ating deaths. At ayun po ang nakikita po natin na if we address the rate of death, we can open our economy. Yun po ang pinaka-ultimate objective po natin, that we have to manage the death like the other countries like Vietnam and also Israel, that they were able to address that.
General Anyo, do you have something to say?
Magandang gabi po, Mr. President. Doon po sa ulat ng ating Secretary Charlie Galvez ay binigyan niya po na emphasis ang role ng ating mga local government units. At handa po yung ating mga governors, mayors, at barangay captains para ipatupad po ang ating second phase ng National Action Plan. Ang ating pong mga local chief executives, ang ating tinatawag na magiging information managers, sila rin po ang crisis managers at sila rin po ang leader to fight COVID-19. At handa na po at makikita po natin sa buong kapuluan na maganda po ang ginagawa ng ating mga local government officials. In fact, ay tumataas po ang rating ng ating mga local chief executives sa performance po nila. Nais ko lang po kayong bigyan ng ulat sa iniatas ninyo sa akin tungkol sa pag-alaga sa ating mga LSI. Ito pong nakaraang weekend ay nagkaroon po tayo ng hatid-tulong initiative at nagpapasalamat po kami sa PMS, sa office po ni Senator Bongo, ang ating mga government agencies, katulad po ng DILG, DND, DSWD, DOTR, Department of Agriculture, DOH, OWA, DOT, ang Pasay City, LGU, pati po ang PAGCOR, ang League of Municipalities of the Philippines sa pangunguna ni Mayor Chavit Singson. Sa 2 araw na po ito, July 4 and July 5, ay nakapaghatid tayo ng mga LSI sa iba't ibang region. Mula po sa CAR, Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, Region 7, sa Bohol po specifically, sa Mimaropa, Region 10, Region 11, Region 9, Region 12. At sa buong weekend po na to ay gumamit tayo ng 92 buses, isa pong barko at isang PNR train. Nakapaghatid tayo ng 4,180 LSIs. Ito po ay part 1 lang sapagkat habang nag-uusap po kami ni Senator Bongo, meron po tayong gagawin uli na another hatid-tulong program. Maaari ito po ay sa last week po ng July, kapag po natapos na rin yung mga naka-quarantine sa ngayon, bunga ng mga inihatid nating LSI. At katulad po ng sinabi ninyo, wala pong LSI na matutulog sa kalsada. Lahat po ito ay kinukuha natin at dinadala po natin sa ating mga maayos na lugar. Dito po sa Villamor Air Base Elementary School, sa Philippine Army Wellness Center, dito po sa isang part ng Libingan ng Bayani, sa MP Battalion, sa Philippine Ports Authority, pati po sa NAIA Terminal 3 at NAIA Terminal 2. Sa July 6 at July 7, naulat po natin, meron tayong 5,296 LSI. Ang 3,820 ay naispasakay na po natin sa mga eroplano at barko. Kaya ang natitira na lang po ay 1,476. At ito po ay naaruga natin at binibigyan po natin ng pagkain at maayos na tutulugan. Ito po yung mga merong mga tickets na stranded. Yung pong mga dumarating na walang ticket at wala pong kasiguraduhang makakasakay dahil walang ticket, inihatid po ng ating kapulisan ito sa kanilang mga bahay at kinukuha po yung kanilang contact number para po sa susunod na hatid tulong program ay sila po yung priority para po maihatid natin sa kanilang pupuntang probinsya. So ito po yung ating tulong sa LSI sa base na rin po sa inyong pinag-uutos. Doon naman po sa ating update sa mga ating kinasuhan para po sigurado na walang mag-aabuso ng mga lokal na opisyal. Sa barangay officials po ay meron tayong 182 admin cases. Doon po naman sa mga mayors na binigyan natin ng show cause orders dahil hindi po naipamahagi ng maayos sa first tranche, ay ang 11 po ay nai-refer na natin sa ombudsman. Sa criminal cases naman po ay out of the complaints from 596 citizens ay meron pong 886 suspects na mga local government officials. 364 ang elected at ang natira po ay mga appointed. At meron na pong 195 cases na naipile sa fiscal office. Ito po ay tuloy-tuloy, kasama na rin po yung mga pasaway na gumawa ng violations dito sa Cebu City habang ito po ay nag-ECQ. Katulad po nung pagkakandak ng piyesta, pagsusugal, at saka pagpuprosesyon. Ito po ay gagawin natin sapagkat kailangan po talagang sumunod ang ating mga kababayan sa ating sinasabing minimum health standards. Ito po talaga ang susi para maiwasan na ang contamination. At hinikayat din po natin ang ating mga mayors na magpasa ng ordinansa para pare-parehas po yung pagpapatupad na ang lahat ng violators ay dapat po ay maparusahan ng pagkakulong para ito po magsilbing aral at huwag nang magbabiolate. Kung ang lahat po ng ating kababayan ay nagsusuot ng mask, nag-o-observe ng physical distancing at naghuhugas ng kamay, may iwasan na po ang paglaganap ng COVID virus 19. Yan lang po, Mr. President. Maraming pong salamat.
Thank you. Well done. John Lorenzana, you have something to say before we call to wrap up the...
Update lang po, Mr. President, dun sa ating pinagkakaabalahan ngayon, yung mga bumabalik mga Pilipinos. Yung una po ay yung mga returning overseas Filipinos na yung bumabalik na rito. Sa kasalukuyan ay meron na tayong naibalik sa mga probinsya nila na 48,099. By land transport is 19,791. Yung air transport naman 23,899 at saka sa barko 4,499. Yun naman sa ating mga overseas Filipinos yung dumarating galing sa ibang bansa na nawalan ng trabaho ay sa ngayon meron tayong naibalik sa mga probinsya na 75,895. So wala na po tayong mga backlog ngayon. Ngayon po ang data ngayon ng araw na ito. Nabanggit na po ni Secretary Anyo yung LSIs at saka yung balik tulong. Isa na lang po aking babanggitin yung mga Pilipinos na nasa Sabah na gustong ibalik na ng Malaysia sa atin. Ang bilang po noon, ng total bilang ay mahigit pong 5,000. Yung unang batch po ay dumating na noong Sabado. Nagpunta kami doon ni Secretary Galvez at saka si Secretary Roque. Pagkatapos po natin manggaling sa Zamboanga, Kanambagahan, nagpunta kami doon. Yung first batch ay 395 Filipinos. Karamihan po ito ay taga Bungaw, Tawi-Tawi. So ito pong barko natin na pumupunta ng Sabah ay every 2 weeks ay magkakahakot nitong mga Pilipino na to. Karamihan po sa kanila ay Tawi-Tawi, Basilan, at Zamboanga, at saka yung iba naman sa ibang mga lugar. Nakausap na po namin yung mga provincial government na tanggapin nila itong mga mga tao ito dahil sila po ay COVID-free na. Bago sila umalis sa Malaysia ay na-testing na sila doon sa pamamagitan na binayaran na ng DOH yung kanilang testing doon. Lahat po itong 395 na umalis ang dumating nung Sabado ay COVID-free sa testing po. Yun lang po, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. You might wrap up the today's session with yung ano sa task force, the different or matters that you took up for the rest of the week.
Yes, sir. Dalawang bagay lang po. Kasabay po ng ating part 2 ng ating plan of action, magkakaroon po tayo ng major change also in our communication. Sinimulan niyo po ngayon dahil ang binasa niyo po ngayon ay yung active cases. Kabahagi po yan ng ating bagong strategiya sa ating communication. Ang communication po natin ay marami na tayong natututunan tungkol dito sa sakit po ng COVID-19. Gagamitin natin yung natutunan natin para mapapagal pa po ang pagkalat ng sakit at gagamitin po natin ito, gagawin natin ito dahil kinakailangan na nga pong mabukas na ekonomiya. So habang nagbubukas po tayo ng ekonomiya, palalakasin pa po natin ang T3, ang testing, tracing at treatment. Poprotektahan po natin ang vulnerables dahil yan naman po ang natutunan natin sa mga ibang bansa. Karamihan ang namamatay ay mga senior citizen, mga buntis at may mga sakit. At papapatuloy po natin ang localized and granular lockdowns. Now, pagdating po sa communication, yung ginawa po ninyo, nauna na po ang PMS, na-implement na po nila, pwede ba kung pakita natin yung aking slides ngayon? Ito po yung slides na ginamit natin kanina for the first time sa ating press briefing. Mapapansin nyo po, bago na rin po yung ating, hindi po yan yung COVID-19 updates. Sa COVID-19 updates, yung kakalipat ko lang, yung finorward po natin hindi po yan, back pa. Sa una po, yung COVID-19. Makikita nyo po sa COVID-19, yan, yung unang-unang part. Yan. So actually po, yung binasa niyo po kanina is 32,845 active cases. So actually, in-implement na po ng PMS. Kaya po natin sinasabi na active cases kasi baliwala na naman yung mga hindi aktibong cases. Talaga pong tataas at tataas ang numero habang wala pong bakuna, habang walang sakit. Pero ang importante po, malaman natin kung ilan ang active cases. Sa susunod na slide po, makikita natin yung recoveries kaagad. Napakataas po ng recoveries, 12,185. At binibigyan po natin ng emphasis na ang deaths ay pakaunti po ng pakaunti, 1,303. Susunod na slide po magpapakita na in fact, ito po yung tinatawag natin positivity rate. Yung kada 100 na taong tinetesting, ilan ang merong sakit na positive sila, ang bansa po natin ay 7% lamang. Ang benchmark po ng World Health Organization ay 10%. So we are well within po the benchmark. Tapos ipapakita po natin yung mga datos na nagpapakita na epektibo naman po ang ginagawa natin laban sa COVID-19. Ang pinaka-importante po, ito pong graph neto, itong ating mortality rate na nagpapakita naman po talaga na patuloy po bumababa. Sa katunayan po, ang ating mortality rate ngayon ay 2.9%, 1,290 as of July 5 ang ating mga death rate. Pero ang global average po ay 5.5%. So halos kalahati po tayo ng worldwide average. Pagkatapos po, i-remind natin yung taong bayan na kung hindi po tayo nag-lockdown, hindi tayo gumawa ng lahat ng hakbang, ang estimate po ng UP, kung hindi tayo nag-ECQ, meron na po sanang 3,600,000 na katao na nagkasakit. So bagamat tumataas po ang numero na nasa 40,000 plus tayo, kung hindi po tayo gumalaw ng maaga, 3.6 million po ang dapat na nagkasakit. And then ito naman po yung mga naging gains natin dahil nga nagsarado tayo. Napainting natin yung ating lab testing capacity noong Marso 2000. Ngayon po, July 5, meron tayong 74,304 lab testing capacity. No? And so pataas po, at ito po yung to dispel doubts na nagkukulang na po tayo ng hospital. No? Yung mga hospital beds na kumakalat na fake news. Ito po yung mga quarantine beds. Ang makikita po natin yung dark blue, yan po yung mga okupado. Yung light blue po, yan po yung mga bakante. At yung gray, yan po yung tinatawag na unreported. Ibig sabihin, pwede pa pong lagyan niya ng pasyente kung kinakailangan. At makikita natin doon sa mga graphs na yon na ang quarantine bed capacity po natin, wala pa pong kalahati. Ibig sabihin, habang nagbubukas po tayo ng ekonomiya, meron tayong sapat na quarantine bed sa paglalagyan ng mga magkakasakit. Pagkatapos po, yung ating PPEs, end of April, 1 million, end of June, na-triple na po natin at 3 million. Yung ating sa NCR po, kasi sa NCR po kumalat yung fake news na wala na pong bed capacity, kinakamusta po kayo ni Dr. Sammy Ang kasi naging viral yung kanyang memo na for internal use only. Ang sabi lang niya, napuno na yung 30% bed capacity allotted for COVID patients. Ang lumabas sa dyaryo, punong-puno na raw ang Chinese General Hospital na hindi naman po totoo. So ang sa NCR po, 28,000 ang ating hospital bed capacity. Ang allotted po sa COVID-19 na dapat 30% ay 8,400, pero occupied naman po parang COVID patients ngayon ay 3,602 lamang. So malaki pa po, halos mahigit pa kalahati yung ating bed capacity para sa COVID. At ito naman po yung quarantine facility beds. Ganun din po, no, gaya nung isang pinakita natin, wala pa po sa 1/3 ang okupado. Meron pa po tayong 72% available. Ang mensahe po natin, kaya tayo nag-ECQ, hinandaan po natin, pinalakas po natin yung health system natin para pagbukas ng ekonomiya, maaalagaan po natin yung mga magkakasakit na critical at severe. Pero ang trend nga po, wala pa pong 0.6 ang severe at critical na nagkakasakit. So habang ang tao naman po ay nag-observe ng minimum health standards, so yung social distancing, wearing of mask, nag-expand ng testing at nag-localize sa targeting, pwede na po natin buksan ang ating ekonomiya. Well, ito nga po yung bagong thrust ng ating communication plan at kayo po ang number 1 communication na tool ng buong Pilipinas. As we open the economy, ang responsibilidad po ay mas malaki na ngayon sa mga LGUs dahil nga po sa localized lockdown, sa mga kumpanya na pangalagaan yung kanilang mga empleyado, at sa individual dahil sa pagsusuot ng mask, paghuhugas ng kamay, at pagsusocial distancing. Yan po talaga ang sandata natin laban sa COVID-19. Ang statistics po, ang pagsusuot ng mask, it can lower the probability of acquiring the disease by 85%. Ang social distancing po, it can reduce the probability by as much as 80%. So, ang balita po natin talaga is tumataas ang kaso. Ito po expected habang walang bakuna. Pinaghandaan po natin to. Sapat-sapat po ang ating mga kama para sa mga magkakasakit. Pero dahil meron tayong sandata laban sa COVID-19, po pwede na natin buksan ang ekonomiya at magkaroon ng hanap buhay ang lahat. Yun lang po.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody sa itong ating gobyerno. The gobyerno that's really the cabinet members working for the prompt response that you undertook to alleviate the plight of the stranded Filipinos. Nakakaawa talaga, and it took you just about 2 days to solve the problem. I'd like also to thank Secretary Tugani for his fast action. Alam mo, yan lang ang maibigay natin sa tao, yung hindi masyado mahirapan ang mamamayan. And whenever there is a problem, that we try to solve it as fast as can ever be done. Maraming akong nakita doon sa trabaho ninyo, and I cannot thank you individually now, but maybe someday, in the fullness of God's time, mawala na ito. So we're just waiting for the vaccines, and of course, whatever there is and that will hit the market before the end of the year. Sana mawala na ito. Double hit tayo eh. We were hit double whammy. It concerned the health of the nation, pati yung economy. And the only consolation is that we are not the only one. Of course, the rich nation are better off. But at least tayo were able to stop the rampaging COVID on its tracks with our timely intervention, government, especially the medical workers. So maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Now, if there are no other matters, urgent matters affecting the, well, let me just give a few words about the terrorism law. Ito kasi yung mga left, pati itong komunista, they think that we are always thinking of them. They don't even know that we are also thinking of other matters. As a matter of fact, they are the least that we are spending our time. Itong komunista, whatever be the fortune or misfortune of that law now, I'm sure it will be challenged before the Supreme Court. Sana yung the much needed legal weapons that we need to fight terrorism. Kasi ang terrorism ho, hindi ito isang dalawang putok. As what happened in Mindanao and in other places, mostly in Mindanao, ang ginagamit kasi nito nila, bomba. Ang bomba niyan, lahat na sa simbahan may tama o may bukol. Yun nga ang problema niyan. Hindi nila alam, they think that they are a different breed. They would like to be treated with another set of law. When as a matter of fact, they are terrorists. They are terrorists because I finally declared them to be one. Why? Because I spent most of my days as president trying to figure out and connect with them on how we can arrive at a peaceful solution. Wala namang gustong may gera eh. Ako ayaw ko, lalo na ako, kilala ko sila, kilala ko. And it was a good rapport while it lasted. Yung na-presidente na ako, na iba na lang ang istorya, simply because in the ladder of priority, the highest sa akin would be the security of the state. Pero noong panahon ng politika, well, boto yan eh, bilangan ng boto. Naturally, you cultivate friendship with everybody. But there is always a time to be friendly and a time just to be firm. And I did my very best to produce something for the country. But unfortunately, I would not be blaming anybody now unless they would start to blame me again so that I can also blame them. Wala talaga nangyari. And for the law-abiding citizen of this country, I am addressing you with all sincerity. Huwag ho kayong matakot kung hindi ka terorista. Kung hindi ka naman sisirain mo ang gobyerno, pasabugin mo ang simbahan, pasabugin mo yung public utilities, pasabugin mo yung, well, just to derail para matumba na tuloy ang bayan. Problem is, ang demokrasya kasi election, however fractured you may say, ang ating demokrasya, or a little bit shaky. We had an election. It was a clean one. I can guarantee you, I was a participant of that election. We did our very best to present to the public. We did not commit any, kung walang mangyari na masama, wala namang problema. Pero once you blow up simbahan, blow up mo yung marketplace, sino bang? So the right to defend itself accrues to the government heavily. Na ngayon sabi ko nga, sabi na Duterte, patay dito, patay doon. Totoo. Pag pinatay mo ang mga tao, papatayin talaga kita. Anak ka ng, iposta mo yan saan? Pusta mo sa libingan ng tatay pati nanay mo. If you do that to the people, if you kill them wantonly, then I will take it as a right to kill you. Ano ba may problema rin yung kill? Ngayon, kung magsulat ka lang dyan, kung ano-anong pinagsusulat ninyo all those years, I never filed the case, even during the mayor, wala, hindi ako demanda. I just take it as, because that is what my father said. And it was succinctly uttered once by General Lorenzano when he was still active. Dito sa gobyerno, pilde ang maglagot. Kaya yan, kung magbasa ka, kaya hindi ako nagabasa ng mahusay magsulat. Para sa akin, bugok ka. Hindi ako nagabasa. I do not read yung sa briefer nito meron sa article about mga rappler. Skip ko yan. I do not. And the one who gave me that advice early on, when I became mayor, was Mayor Elias Lopez.
It's 2 o'clock.
He was the ex-mayor at the time. He said, I'll give you one good advice and remember this until you die as a politician. Huwag kang magbasa ng mga locals. Huwag kang makinig niyan sa ano. They are no better off. Malayo yan sa iyo. Kaya ganun yan sila. Kasi wala nang magawa sa buhay nila. Hanggang dyan lang yan sila. Ito kita mo kung ano nangyari dyan sa mga bright girls. Nakakaso, akala nila they can violate the law in wild abandon. Hanggang dyan lang yan. Totoo nga. Kaya ako hindi ko tanong. Ayaw ko. Kaya wala akong sinabi na, basa mo ba yung ano, ako, maganda, hindi. Kung hindi maganda para sa akin, wag na. You're wasting your time. Hindi na kaya bilhin. Matanda na eh. Alam mo bakit? Bigyan mo ako ng ilan? Isang truck na pera? Anong gawain ko sa pera? Sige nga. Sa tanda ko, I hate to travel. You travel, you get COVID. Kaya akong ba rin mga koleksyon, mga rare, antique, gano'n. Pero yung military hardware, wala ako. Hindi ako mahilig ng yung mga hobby lang. Travel, I cannot travel anymore. Totoo yan. Wala na yan sa amin. General Galvez, General Lorenzana, tapos they have served the country and they're still serving the country. Why would they destroy their name? Pamagkano ba? Kickback. May kickback mo na 50 million? Kung sabi ka na may 200 million na kickback, I want go. Pero, huwag kayong maniwala. Yan yung mga madudumi yung isip. Yung kaagad nagre-react. Hindi nila naalaman na pagsabi may price difference, tignan mo muna yung history. So because then, if you judge us the way, then one of these days, we will also judge you in the same way and with more ferocity. And it will come. It will come. Tayo mga politiko, it will come. Just be careful. Kaya ako, meron pa rin akong mga, not the dossier, but I have some folders in me, given all throughout the years. You will have a dose of your own medicine. One of this. I'm not threatening you. Go ahead and expose anything about corruption in this government. Sabi ko sa iyo, kung malaki, mag-resign ako. Si Risa is a fraud. Maniwala kayo. Well, give us time. Too early for you to enjoy yung mga award mo. You are a fraud. Actually. We are just compiling at this stage. And someday, in bold letters, we will show your incongruity. You are a fraud. So, yan lang ang masabi ko. Total, wala naman akong hinihingi sa inyo. I'm not asking for any political boto. Wala na. All I'm asking is that you obey government. Because government is very much interested that you don't get sick, or if you get sick, that you get well and would live to grow, to see your children grow and your grandchildren to love. Ganun lang yan. So with that, to say to the Filipino people, huwag po kayong nagtatrabaho lang po kami talaga. And if you want us to do more, we will. Tell us what to do. If we cannot do it, we will tell you why we cannot do it. But if we can, gagawin namin. Salamat po. Kita-kita po ipakpak.